Hi, my name's Morag and welcome to this video on the Food Safety Hub about corrective actions. So corrective actions are a very important part of a food safety management system. They guide and document actions that were taken typically to correct an issue or to re-establish control where control has been lost. So the way we manage that on the Food Safety Hub, as we can see, there's two sections there to the corrective actions. One of them is to add a request. So staff can say something's up, we need something to be fixed, we need some action taken to correct something. So that's when they would add that request. And when they add the request, there will be a digital ledger of the active requests. So that will consolidate all of those requests into one section, into a workflow. So let's have a look at the add request part here. So it's quite simple. Describe the issue, so what the problem was. For example, if a critical limit from a CCP was breached, particularly on a number of occasions, and it looks like there's a systematic failure occurring, then we can document that in there. Or if there's any other part of the food safety system that looks like it needs to be rectified, we document that in there. Any short-term actions that might have been applied to re-establish control, that should also be documented. Any images associated with that can also be very, very helpful. And then a description of what action needs to be taken to fix the issue. So in your eyes, what should be done to fix the issue. The category of the corrective action that can also be added there. This is really important when down the track, when we get a few of these in around metrics to work out which particular part of the food safety program is copying the most corrective actions, and that will be a point for focus in a food safety review. The urgency around the corrective action request, that's also important. If it's something that's critical, there's an imminent risk to food safety, it needs to be acted upon and closed out as quickly as possible, typically within 24 hours. And then you've got major, minor, or an observation for improvement down the scale. The staff members responsible. So what that does is that lists the users in the Food Safety Hub, so that comes straight from the user management system, and an email will be sent out to that particular person. So I'll just nominate myself for that one. We can nominate as many people as we want, and that will trigger the request for that person. And then an expected completion date, so when we would like to see that completed by. I'll just insert some information in here for testing those issues there. And we add that and submit it to the database. Now what this will do, this will trigger a corrective action, an active corrective action. So if we head back into the corrective action requests, we can see there's two active requests. There was one there before, it's now on two. So as we add these requests, they'll be all added to the active requests ledger. So I'll have two active requests in here. So this would have been the one that I've just input now, and so we can add information in there. So the active requests, as you can see, the information that we've put in there remains in there, so we can see what the request is all about. And then it's quite simple, the actions taken by the team, that should also be documented in there. Now even if we take action but we don't want to close this out, we can update that to in progress, and it will maintain all of the information in there. So we can keep adding this. For example, if some paint needed to be ordered, or there's some maintenance that was ordered but hasn't actually been conducted yet, and we might need to wait before we close the corrective action out, all of that information can be added there, and it will be maintained in that field. Particularly around closure, if we've got any images associated with it, that's also very helpful in the closeout of the car or the corrective action. Now once that's all been complete and we're satisfied that the corrective action is all done, we can update that to the status to complete and close, and that will close down the corrective action, and it will also send an email to the person that put the corrective action in the first place. So all of this information is then submitted to the database, and then I've just received an email now to say this has been closed out. So that's the corrective actions section of the Food Safety Hub. It's important also to note that corrective actions can be triggered from any field or any form in the system. So if, for example, if we were to go to somewhere like cold storage or another form, and we look at that and that breaches a critical limit, for example, any of these actions here, if we were to say, look, that's a maintenance issue, or there's some other sort of hazard around there, if we want to say stock was discarded, for example, and we would like to raise a corrective action automatically on submission, that's also a feature of the hub as well, so we don't need to go manually in there and raise a corrective action each time one is due to be done. So an example of that also is in the internal audit. Once an internal audit is conducted, that automatically raises a corrective action. So that can happen across any input or any field of the Food Safety Hub.